Hey there guys, and happy whatever day it is that you're watching this video. Today's coffee is definitely an exciting one, mainly because it's forced me to do a bit of learning, and also because it's another fermented coffee, and I feel like over time my preference for fermentation is actually getting better, and I feel like because of the ones that I've had before, I'm actually getting better at tasting them and noticing the difference between the different types. Uh, so we'll find out on the video. So kick back, relax, get yourselves a coffee, and welcome to Today I Brewed. So this is definitely an interesting one, and it's from the roastery, and here I am about to destroy the pronunciation. Mame, Mame, don't know. I'm going to assume Mame, because that's kind of looks like how it's spelt. But having never tried this roaster before, it was actually a wonderful experience, and I'm glad that this coffee was the first one that I've had from them, because it's allowed me to learn a bit more and improve my ability to taste fermented coffees, which is something that I have been wanting to do, mainly because I've never really enjoyed them properly. But let's get into it and let's talk about the coffee and, see what I've learned. So, the coffee itself, it comes from Colombia. It's called Mandela, and we'll get into that in just a second. The farm is Granja Esperanza, and the farmer, again, if I butcher his name, I apologise, but it's Rigoberto Herrera. Beautiful name, if I've said it correctly. The coffee itself is grown at an altitude between 1500 metres and 1800 metres, so pretty high. And it's the reason it's called Mandela, I believe it's because it's from the Mandela variety. And this is where I've had to do a slight bit of learning, because it's a blend between the Colombian varietal and an African landrace. The terms, I believe, are different depending on the type of work that you do, and I think it means something different in botany, but I'm not sure. I've kind of done some skim reading, and apologies if I've got this wrong. Hopefully somebody can correct me, which would be great, because then I can learn some more. And the landrace is different to an heirloom, I believe. And kind of what I've got down here in my notes is that an heirloom, which we often hear with Ethiopians, or like it's an Ethiopian heirloom, and much like the name says, the coffees are generally passed down over time between farms or families, and they are to do with a region or a cultural group. And the heirlooms have historical and sentimental value, to them, which is again why they're probably called heirlooms. But they're open pollinated, and they have distinct growths, colours and flavours, which is generally the case with most coffees, really. But what separates it from a landrace, and again, I'm going to say this is correct, but apologies if it's not. The landrace is shaped by natural selection, and it is adapted to the environment in which it is in, which I think means it has to be specifically planted there. Gosh, I almost feel like I don't know what I'm talking about, but hopefully it makes sense. Because of its natural selection and its adaptation to its environment, it has a wide genetic diversity, and it's the traits that kind of allow it to thrive in certain environmental places or niches, it says in my notes. But the difference is here that because of that, and because of their ability to take place with natural selection, the landraces can evolve over time. So they can change, essentially, and keep adapting to the environment as the environment changes. And I was reading on, I think it was something like Pollinated Seeds, I think the website was called, that the difference is that the heirlooms aren't bound to a locality, whereas the landraces are. Does that make any form of sense to you guys? Because I feel like I have no idea what I've just said. But I think I understand. The landrace is very specific. But because it says African landrace, I can't really tell you exactly where it is. But, that's cool. It's made me read something, and, it's no fault of the roaster. It's just what it says. But it was interesting to read about, and hopefully it's correct, but please correct me if it's not. But what's really cool, it's a natural processed coffee, and it's fermented over a period of 36 hours. And I think in the past, when I've had longer fermentations, I've always tended not to enjoy them. But because I've been drinking so many of them recently, I feel like I'm starting to appreciate the flavour of a longer fermented process. And if I'm honest, I think having this one has really helped that, because the flavours are very distinct. So what are the flavours? Well, the tasting notes are cooked strawberries, dark cherry, there's some tropical notes with a red wine finish, which sounds fantastic. And I've definitely enjoyed it. I can say that for certain, and kind of being able to pick those out has been pretty wonderful. So let's talk about the brew. Let's talk about how we got to here, and then hear the thoughts on the actual flavour itself. So I guess the most prominent thing was during the grinding process, and it was here that I think I finally was able to pick out the flavours distinct from the fermentation. And there was some wonderful dark cherry in there, and the aroma of the cooked strawberries. And if you've not had cooked strawberries, just cook them, and it's a very specific aroma. And they were definitely there. Like, it was a wonderful kind of sweetness, a bit of acidity in the aroma, but it was super full. And I didn't necessarily get too much of the tropical at this point, but there was definitely the flavours there of what could be perceived as red wine when in the eventual taste. But it was a wonderful grinding experience. Like, it genuinely got me excited because I could tell the difference between the two distinct aromas in the grounds. It was fantastic. Like, I'm pretty gassed, to be honest. But then, as you can see, when it comes to brewing the coffee, it's got a beautiful bloom on it. Like, it just looks so good, and the aromas there really started to come out. And I think here is where I got much more of that cooked strawberry, kind of much more brightness and juiciness from those flavours. Lovely bit of sweetness in the aroma, like, for sure, and kind of a hint of acidity as well. I think I kind of got the tropicalness in the aroma, but it was definitely more the cherry and the strawberries. But maybe the brightness came from those tropical notes, which, if it did, wonderful. But I really enjoyed brewing it, and it definitely came through, I think, the quickest brew I've done. And this was about 3.5 minutes, maybe just a little bit less. But we'll say 3.5 for accuracy. But even though it was quick, I feel like it was good. So let's get there. Let's have a look, or a smell, shall we say. And yeah, the aromas are so clear. That dark cherry is super there, more so than the strawberry in the aroma in the finished brew. And I think I'm getting a bit of tropical, like the sweetness on the aroma feels very passion fruity, and the strawberry is sitting there nicely, like great. It feels very balanced in the aroma. So let's taste it. Let's see what it's like in the final cup. Boy, is that smooth. Real clean throughout the whole sip. And that red wine finish is absolutely there, just sitting on the tongue nicely, like a really good red wine as well. Lovely body, I'd probably say light to medium. Gosh, that is beautiful. Like really good. The strawberry's definitely there, coupled really nicely with that dark cherry. Neither of them are really overpowering, which is quite nice. The tropical is kind of there. I think I get the sweetness of it, you know. There's definitely something there. I don't think it's passion fruit in the cup in terms of that sweetness, but there's definitely a tropical brightness and vibrancy to the finished cup. But that red wine finish is absolutely there, like just pure 100%. And it is so light, like not in a negative way, that the body is so light. It kind of feels like you haven't drank anything, but you kind of know that you have because of the red wine that's on there. That's a beautiful cup. And again, I think because I've been drinking the fermentations, I'm now being able to actually taste the difference between the ferment flavour and the actual flavours, which is something I've been wanting to be able to do for a little while now. And I think this is the one that's kind of got me tuned into that. The practice from the others has helped, but this one's really helped me zone in on that ability to do that. Again, I don't think I would drink these all the time, but they are, I say that, but I've pretty much drank fermented coffees for the past month and a half, with the odd exception here and there. But that is a wonderful coffee, truly brilliant, and it's still on their website. I did check this morning, so yeah, absolutely go get yourself a cup of this, and I promise you won't be disappointed. Apologies if I've butchered the name of the roastery, please correct me if I have, but I gave you 3 options, so one of them must be right, unless there's one that I didn't think of. But yeah, fantastic. So I'm going to go finish this, and I hope you enjoy whatever you're going to do for the rest of your day. But if you haven't got a coffee yet, go get yourselves one, go make one, kick back, put your feet up, and thanks for joining me on Today I Brewed.